there's a moment that happens to almost everyone. You're doing something ordinary, making coffee, driving to work, folding laundry, lying in bed, and suddenly your mind is somewhere else. Not just thinking, but spinning, replaying a conversation, imagining what could go wrong, arguing with someone who isn't even in the room, writing a story about your future that feels so real your body starts reacting like it's already happening. And it's strange, because nothing around you has changed. The room is the same, the day is the same, but inside you, it feels like an emergency. That's the quiet power of the mind. And that's why the phrase, control your mind, control your life, sounds dramatic, but it's actually practical. Because whether you realize it or not, your life is being shaped every day by whatever is steering your attention. Not your intentions, not your goals, not even your values sometimes. Your attention. If your attention is constantly pulled into fear, you'll build a life around protecting yourself from things that haven't happened. If your attention is constantly pulled into resentment, you'll build a life around keeping score. If your attention is constantly pulled into distraction, you'll build a life that feels busy and strangely empty. So when we talk about controlling the mind, I don't mean forcing positivity or never feeling anxiety. I don't mean becoming some perfectly calm person who's immune to life. I mean something simpler and more human. I mean learning how to notice what's happening inside you so you can choose what happens next. Because there's a difference between having a thought and obeying it. Most of us don't struggle because we have thoughts. We struggle because we treat thoughts like commands. A thought shows up and it sounds convincing, so we follow it. I'm behind. I'm failing. They don't respect me. I'm going to mess this up. This feeling means something is wrong with me. And just like that, you're not living your day anymore. You're living inside a sentence your mind wrote. One of the most freeing things you can learn is this. A thought can be loud, urgent, emotional, and still be wrong, or at least incomplete. The mind is an incredible tool, but it's not an all-seeing truth machine. It's more like a storyteller. It tries to connect dots. It tries to predict. It tries to keep you safe. It tries to make sense of uncertainty. And when it doesn't have enough information, it fills in the gaps with whatever it's trained on. Old experiences, old fears, old pain. So the first part of control isn't control at all. It's awareness. Just a gentle pause where you stop and say, okay, this is what my mind is doing right now. Not I'm broken, not I shouldn't feel this, not I need to fix everything immediately. Just, this is what's happening. If you can do that, even for 2 seconds, you create space. And in that space, you become the one behind the wheel again. Here's a simple practice that sounds almost too easy, but it works because it changes your relationship to your thoughts. When a heavy thought hits, try saying, I'm noticing the thought that. Not, this is true. Not, this is me. Not, this is my reality. Just, I'm noticing the thought that. I'm noticing the thought that I'm not enough. D. I'm noticing the thought that something bad is about to happen. I'm noticing the thought that I'll never figure this out. It creates a little distance. And that distance is everything. Because once you have distance, you can ask a better question. Is this thought helpful? Is this thought accurate? Is this thought kind? Is this thought leading me toward the life I actually want? That's control, not crushing your mind, directing it. Now here's the part most people miss. Your mind doesn't live in a vacuum. It lives in a nervous system. If your body is in fight or flight, your mind will produce fight or flight thoughts. If your body is tense, sleep deprived, overstimulated, underfed, or constantly on alert, your thoughts will reflect that. So if you're trying to control your mind while your body feels unsafe, it's like trying to have a calm conversation in the middle of a fire alarm. Sometimes the most powerful mental shift is physical. Take one slow breath, really slow, and let the exhale be longer than the inhale. The body understands that language. The long exhale tells your system, we're not running, we're not fighting, we're here. And then, when the alarm quiets down, your thoughts get clearer. You start to see what's real and what's just noise. This is why control your mind doesn't mean think harder. Often it means settle first, then choose. And once you settle, you can practice the skill that changes everything, choosing your next response. Because you can't always control the first thought. That first thought is often automatic. It's habit. It's conditioning. It's the brain doing what it learned to do. But you can control the second thought. The second thought is where freedom begins. First thought. They didn't text back. I've done something wrong. Second thought. I don't know. I'm not going to punish myself with guesses. First thought, I made a mistake. I'm an idiot. Second thought, I made a mistake. I'm human. I'll adjust. First thought, I feel anxious. This is going to be a disaster. Second thought, I feel anxious. That doesn't mean disaster. It means I'm nervous. That's not denial. That's maturity. Now let's take it a step deeper. If your mind is hard to control, it might not be because you're weak. It might be because you've been letting your attention be stolen all day. And attention is a limited resource. It's not just focus. It's life energy. Whatever you repeatedly focus on becomes your emotional reality. That's why someone can have a good life on paper and still feel miserable, because their attention is stuck on what's missing, what's unfair, what might go wrong. And someone else can have a messy life and still feel grounded because their attention returns to what they can do, what they love, what matters. So here's a question that can change your day in 5 seconds. What am I feeding my mind right now? Because your mind is always being fed by conversations, media, doom scrolling, comparison, noise, criticism, unresolved tension. And it's also fed by quieter things, rest, nature, books, music, prayer, journaling, movement, honest friendship, silence. You don't need to live in a bubble. But if you want control, you have to become intentional about your inputs. You wouldn't eat junk all day and expect your body to feel strong. And yet, we do the mental version of that constantly. We feed the mind worry. We feed it outrage. We feed it comparison. We feed it headlines designed to scare us. We feed it other people's opinions. Then we wonder why we can't relax. Control is not only what you do in a crisis. Control is what you do every day when nobody is watching. It's the small choices. What you read, what you watch, who you talk to, what you repeat to yourself, what you give your attention to. This is where control your mind, control your life becomes very real. Because your life is mostly built out of ordinary moments. And ordinary moments are shaped by whatever voice you listen to most. So, if you want a practical way to take your mind back, start here. When you notice yourself spiraling, don't ask, "How do I stop thinking?" Ask, "What do I need right now?" Sometimes you need clarity. Sometimes you need rest. Sometimes you need to move your body. Sometimes you need to have a hard conversation. Sometimes you need to set a boundary. Sometimes you need to stop checking the same thing over and over, hoping the anxiety will go away. And sometimes you need to accept that you're human and your mind is tired. That's an underrated kind of control. Not control as domination, control as care. Because here's the honest truth. A lot of people don't need more discipline. They need less self-violence. They don't need to push through everything. They need to stop treating their mind like an enemy. If you speak to yourself like you're constantly failing, your mind will become a tense place to live. But if you speak to yourself like you're learning, your mind becomes a safer home. And when your mind feels like a safer home, your life changes. You stop reacting so fast. You stop taking everything personally. You stop living as if you're always about to be judged. You start making decisions from values, not fear. That's control. Now, I want to offer one more idea that's both simple and powerful. A calm mind is not a mind with no problems. A calm mind is a mind that knows what to do with problems. It knows how to pause, how to breathe, how to separate facts from stories, how to choose the next right step. So let's make this concrete. If your mind is loud today, try this. Pick one small thing you can control in the next 10 minutes. Not the whole future, not your entire personality, not your entire life story, just the next 10 minutes. Maybe it's drinking water, maybe it's cleaning one surface, maybe it's sending one message, maybe it's stepping outside for air, maybe it's turning off your phone for a while, maybe it's writing down what's actually true. Control becomes real when it becomes small. And when you stack small control over time, you get something that feels like confidence. Not the loud kind, the steady kind. The kind where life can shake and you don't fall apart. Because you've practiced returning to yourself, and that might be the most important phrase in this entire conversation. Return to yourself. Your mind will wander. It will worry. It will replay. It will predict. That's what minds do. Your job isn't to stop it forever. Your job is to notice and return again and again and again. Like bringing a child's hand back into yours when they run ahead. No shame, no drama, just return. And if you want a simple line to carry with you, something you can repeat when you're caught in the noise, try this. I don't have to believe everything I think. Or, I can feel this and still choose wisely. Or even, not now. Sometimes not now is enough. Not now worry. Not now replay. Not now catastrophe. I'm living. Because when your mind is in control of you, you live in rehearsal. You rehearse arguments. You rehearse failure. You rehearse rejection. And the tragedy is, you can spend your whole life rehearsing and never actually be present for the real thing. So reclaim your attention. Protect your peace. Choose what you feed your mind. Learn to settle your body. Practice the second thought. And when you get pulled into the old patterns, because you will just return, that's control. And control doesn't make you rigid. It makes you free. Take one slow breath right now. Just one. And as you exhale, remind yourself, I'm here. That's where your life is. If you'd like, you can stay with this calm for a moment. No fixing. No forcing. Just being. And when you're ready, carry this with you. Control your mind. Control your life. Not by fighting yourself, by coming home to yourself. If this episode helped you feel even a little more grounded, take a second to support the show, subscribe, leave a rating, or share it with someone who's been carrying too much in their head lately. And just a reminder before you go, you don't have to fix everything tonight. You don't have to solve the whole future. You only have to return to yourself one breath, one choice, one moment at a time. Thanks for being here. Take care of your mind, and your life will follow.